And oddly enough, we have another Dan, right? Is this Dan?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Dan Farrell, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
I called in earlier. Big shout out to the Ustream.tv people.
Yes.
TVJ time. I don't know if a lot of people know. I wanted to get the word out that your broadcast is actually also available on the internet live on Ustream.tv, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
There's the information.
Lots of different formats.
Yes. I actually did have a question, though, and that is to Matt and possibly the co-host whose name escapes me. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Don.
Don. Matt and Don. You guys know more about the Bible than I do. I did used to be a Christian, but I was the kind of Christian that didn't really study the Bible.
Mm-hmm. So you were like 99% of the Christians on the planet.
Precisely. I'm the kind of Christian that looks for warm and fuzzy answers more than biblical answers. But my question is two-part question. Part one is: did Jesus die for a so that we would no longer be responsible for the sins of our forefathers, or am I incorrect in that interpretation?
It's going to depend, I guess, on which variety of Christians you want to talk about. One of the general kind of orthodox views is that he died as a payment for all sins. That once upon a time, every sin had to have some kind of blood sacrifice, and that Jesus came down and became the ultimate blood sacrifice for all sins that had occurred prior to his arrival, and all sins that would occur forever in the future.
Well, one of the interpretations that I was taught as I went to a church in my area that was actually broadcast on TV, one of the interpretations that I was taught was that Jesus died so that we would no longer be responsible for the sins of our forefathers. You know how they would punish, like, not just the fathers and the people responsible in Egypt, but their sons and their grandsons.
His whole reason for existing was because of original sin, right? That we are all supposedly tainted with this original sin, and if we didn't have that sin, there wouldn't be much reason for Jesus existing. So his sacrifice.
There's two different issues. Yeah. There's what he's talking about is this idea from the Old Testament that the sins of the father would be passed down to the son under the fourth generation, etc. That's a different thing from original sin.
Yes.
That's your grandpa did something, and we're going to hold you responsible for it. Yes, it's very curse-like, and there's a lot of that superstitious stuff in the Old Testament. Then there's also what Don's talking about, which is the idea of original sin, the original fall, how sin entered the world, and all this other stuff. None of it makes any sense.
None of it's black and white, and so it's subject to spin.
And so they can spin it any way they want to. In general, though, it's in general that Jesus' death, I refuse to call it a sacrifice because I'm not convinced that it happened, but I don't see how it's a sacrifice to, go through a little punishment and then get to be God at the end of it. But it's supposedly there to abolish the responsibility of all sin. The onus placed by forefathers, and for original sin, and for whether or not when you went and played with yourself afterwards. So.
Well, and Martin Luther, the founder of Protestantism, had this interesting quote of if you don't go out and sin, Jesus' sacrifice would have been in vain. That you should sin, but you should love God more, which is very interesting, right? He actually encouraged people to sin, but love Jesus so much that it doesn't matter, right? That you still get to cash in at the end. I thought that was very interesting, especially from the founder of Protestantism.
The basis of my question was, if Jesus died for our sins so that we would not be responsible for the sins of our ancestors, then why is childbirth still painful, and why is all that crap? But
Fine.
You kind of answered that. The next part of my question, and I'll get to that in just a second. I know I got to be real.
Yeah, the more you think about it, the less sense it makes. Go ahead.
Patrick, do you guys remember Patrick, the guy who was suing?
He is now he who shall not be named. As a matter of fact, I had a really good nickname for him, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah.
That fella who done sued over free speech.
Yeah.
I believe, and I don't want to blurt out his name, address, social security number, phone number, all that kind of stuff on the air. Obviously, that would be on the border of illegal, and I don't want to do that. But the point is, I think that I was told by a little birdie that he might have been fired from his cab driving company, number 152 for Yellow Cab, so I think that we can all rejoice in that fact.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to see any harm come to him.
I'm not going to actually.
My only hope is that he learned something from the experience, and that we all learn something from the experience, and we can move on. That's my only hope.
He didn't, I can tell you, because he's now
He
responding.
definitely didn't.
He's responding
He's now
with lies.
He's now suing over a dead octopus being thrown into the rink for some hockey.
That was an old one.
That's an old suit. That's an old suit.
He's
I'm gonna answer this real quick and head on to some other callers, but I gotta let you go down. Appreciate the call.
One sec.
Sure.
I've got Zeitgeist about the sword. Have you ever seen Zeitgeist? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Zeitgeist.
We get asked about that.
Yes.
Get asked about it all the time. It's crap.
And I'll go ahead and go away here, but about the solar deity, I had a question about that, about the whole solar deity thing in the past religions. Christianity is just a derivative of that. Go ahead and answer that when I hang up here. And thank you.
And the other thing, I will. And the other thing you can do, thanks, Dan, is to email tv@atheist-community.org. That goes to myself, most of the co-hosts, some of the people behind the scenes as well. We get emails all the time about Zeitgeist in particular. My quick summation is that it's crap. If you'd like to know why it's crap, I have now, because I've switched to Gmail, I now have a stock answer to Zeitgeist, so that anybody who emails me to ask me about that piece of trash,
We should put it in the frequently asked questions.
I can
or
just
something.
click, boom, there's the response. This is why it's
Briefly, the beginning part of it has some truth,
yes,
but goes a little too far, and
it's
the
a
rest of
gross
it's
oversimplification. It's freshman religious philosophy at its worst.
okay.
But